Today, let's talk social anxiety. So first of all, I want to start off by saying that I am not a counselor, I am not a mental health professional. I'm just some girl on the internet who was diagnosed with social anxiety and who years later is now doing amazing. And even though I still consider myself an introvert at heart and I still prefer my quiet moments, I prefer smaller crowds, that I'm still very much okay with talking to large groups of people, to talk on a stage, or even just one-on-one, because I used to be very socially awkward and it just used to cause me a lot of anxiety, even just one-on-one situations. And so I definitely feel like some of the things that I have done have helped me to overcome diagnosed social anxiety. And so this video is meant as an encouragement, but please know that I am not a mental health professional, so just take it with a grain of salt. But before we begin, let me introduce myself. I'm Yessie. On this channel, we talk about minimalism and slow, intentional living with a holistic view. So basically, the inside-out approach. I don't just want to talk about aesthetics and having a clean, cozy home. Although I love me some minimalist aesthetics, I think that really changing your life is going to ultimately start within. It's those mindset shifts, those habit changes, those things that we have inside. And so as we go along, I'm going to be sharing with you some of my vulnerabilities and some of the things that I have struggled with. So if you want more content on minimalism through this regard, be sure to subscribe so you won't miss when I post a new video. I used to be that person that would go to the grocery store, and if I saw my friend at the grocery store instead of at school, or somebody that I knew in one particular scenario and I saw them in a different scenario, then I would get nervous. I would start sweating. I would start getting like physically nervous. Like my heart would start racing and I would feel like, what am I going to say? And I would like think all these things in my head before I even approached that individual. And then 9 times out of 10, I would like turn around and run. Even ordering a pizza on the phone, oh my gosh, I'd be like, why do I have to do it? Like my parents would want me to order one because it was a little bit harder for them to speak English. And I'd be like, I don't want pizza. Like, never mind. Talking to people on the phone was very, very difficult. Like I would sweat in all sorts of places. And it was not a fun thing. And I often felt alone in this. And it's actually very common. So that's my first point that I want to make, is that over 15 million Americans struggle with this. And the number, to me, in my own perception, is probably rising. And a lot of that stems from social media. I've talked about why I quit social media in terms of like it's Facebook and Instagram and all those other websites, and I no longer have any of that. For a long time, I didn't even have a YouTube channel. I went for 3 years without a YouTube channel, and then I started to make a YouTube channel to kind of share my experience. But I definitely saw a difference when I quit social media. A lot of that stems from that comparison, that we feel like that person has that perfect life. We see that exterior, we see them doing whatever activity, and we see, you know, that edited, the photoshopped version. And even with this YouTube channel, if I mess up, I can just like cut something and fill it with something else. So we see this edited version and we compare ourselves to that. We create like this standard of this is what I should be, or this is what my life should be. And then we feel a little bit less than. And even if that's not the case, we're just constantly bombarded with all these ads and all these things, advertising, telling us that we're already not enough. And so I definitely struggled with feelings of worthlessness, loneliness, and it wasn't just social media. I mean, I had other things that led up to that, but I'm saying that I definitely think that there was a correlation for me, that when I quit social media, I was able to kind of let go of that part and just focus on me growing, focus on what I wanted to do with my life, my purpose, my calling, instead of just focusing on what I should wear, what I should do to please somebody on the internet that really doesn't care anything about me, doesn't even know me, and isn't there on my days when I am struggling. So I really, in a sense, lived for the likes at that moment in time, and I had to stop that first so that I could recognize that I needed things to work on. And then too, just it really, really helped once I did have a diagnosis, because a diagnosis can do 2 things for you. I think it can basically tell you that you have this issue and oh, poor me, now because I'm socially anxious, then I'm not going to go out to parties and not going to go do things. Or it can actually be your motive for doing those things. Once I got that diagnosis, it was kind of freeing. It was like, okay, so now I know that I'm not crazy, I'm not broken, I've got this issue that I need to work on. And because I have social anxiety, I'm going to go do things. I'm going to go out. I'm going to talk on the phone. I'm going to do the things that make me uncomfortable because of this diagnosis. If you feel like you struggle socially, you feel like it's hard for you to connect with people, but at the same time you're feeling lonely and you actually want to have better relationships and really have more intimate relationships, then I think number one, knowing that you're not alone, that this is something that a lot of other people struggle with and they're probably not going to talk to you about it, or maybe they don't even know, they haven't actually been diagnosed with it. Because I remember when I got my diagnosis, it was like, oh, it makes sense now. Yeah. I'm going to admit this on the internet, and it's going to be super embarrassing, but I wished that I had known that there was another 20-year-old that had this issue. You guys, I would start to... Oh my gosh, I didn't think that I would admit this on the internet. Like, not even my parents knew that I had this issue, because I went to a urologist and they fixed me all up, whatever they did. But I had leakage issues at 20 years old. My anxiety was so bad that if I was driving down the road knowing that I was going to go to some social situation, like I would arrive super sweaty and urine leakage. Like, it was bad. And I'm saying this even though it's embarrassing to admit that, but because as a 20-year-old, I felt like, well, dang, like this is something that happens to people when they're older. Like I hear a lot about that in women. They're like, oh, I cough and that happens. But I felt like that was people when they've had kids, when they've been like menopause. And I definitely didn't admit this to anyone. Like I said, I went to my urologist by myself. I would not have admitted it to my colleagues at the time. And I felt alone. So number one, you're not alone. Your symptoms may vary, it may not be my extreme, but you're definitely not alone. There are other people that struggle with this issue and they may not know how to actually talk to other people about it, just like same way that I did. I kind of hid those things. And then also just avoid social media and its comparison. And you don't have to cut out all social media because some things can actually be helpful for you. What I would recommend is to kind of see the motive behind each channel, and not only see the motive, like is it trying to sell you something? Is it trying to make you feel like you need this stuff to have this particular lifestyle, this aesthetic, or like you need XYZ, but also what effect does it have on you? Like, what do you feel inside? Because it may be somebody that has these perfect intentions, they mean well, but on you, it's making you compare yourself. It's making you feel less than. An example for me is I had to unsubscribe for this particular minimalism and slow living YouTuber who is amazing. I loved her channel, but I had to stop because she doesn't have kids, and I would compare myself as a YouTuber and somebody that tries to practice minimalism, and that was detrimental. And I noticed that. I noticed that when I would see her and doing all these amazing things and traveling the world, and I was like, wait a minute. Don't do that, Yessie, because you have children. This is not the ideal lifestyle for you. And even if you didn't have children, this is not the lifestyle you would want to live. So why even go down that rabbit trail? So I would definitely recommend you curate your media, not only for what is the motive of the channel, but what effect does it have on you? And I'm not embarrassed to say that I unsubscribe from people that I like if I notice that I need it, because they may have good intentions, but two, they might start selling you on stuff and all these constant ads. Like I also had to do that myself. There was another YouTuber that was in the minimalism realm, and she would always have these ads for this and this and this and sponsorships, and I'm like, I feel like I'm just bombarded with commercials without being bombarded with commercials. So I had to unsubscribe from that person too. So I definitely don't feel it personal if you need to unsubscribe from my channel. I think whatever it is that you need for your mental sanity, of how you best feel. Removing the news, removing anything that makes you feel scarcity, whether that means internal, like you feel like you are less, or that the world is a horrible place and the economy is crashing and all things are going wrong. Anything that makes you feel that way, I would remove, and then also curate it. Add in some things that will give you some positive encouragement, some people that are trying to help you live a more positive life. So for me, that was adding people like Vanessa Van Edwards. I definitely recommend her. She calls herself a recovering awkward person, and I definitely aligned with that perfectly. And she talks about the science of people and how to actually maneuver body language and what to actually do. So I definitely recommend her book, Cues and Captivating. I believe that the one that I started off with was Captivating, and she also has the other book, Cues, which, I mean, just read both of them. She's amazing. She has science-backed data, and she can actually give you tools for knowing what do you do with your eyes, what do you do with your mouth, what do you do with your hands, like what do you actually do with your body in order to communicate more effectively. I was that person that really struggled with like shrugging, looking down, like not having eye contact, not knowing what to do with my hands. And so even like once I had graduated from nursing school and I was calling doctors, like that was something that I really struggled with. And I had to really develop a lot of confidence in this area without feeling like, oh, well, I mean, if you can, if you want to, no. Like I needed to develop confidence with speaking up and actually saying the things that I needed, but that needed a lot of practice. And so these kind of books were very helpful. And even just watching videos, Vanessa Van Edwards has videos too, but just watching videos on communication and improving communication, what things to say. The book Crucial Conversations was also one that was very helpful to me and has been a reread. I think I've read it like 3 times, and I will probably end up reading it again because it's been so helpful. So just like load up on all of the things that will help you to get educated. And then the last point is just to practice. Unfortunately, this is not something that was easy. And I'm not sitting here saying like, oh, I had social anxiety and it was super bad, and then the next year I was fine. No, like this took years. Like I said, I'm still introverted. I still know that I like my quiet time. I like my solitude. I prefer smaller crowds, like going to places like a Six Flags or like those big places. To me, by the end of the day, I'm like, ugh, I need a vacation from my vacation. So I like more quiet places, but that's just me. That's my temperament. I just prefer more calmer areas, but I'm perfectly content and I'm comfortable in social situations now. And this is something that has taken time. This has taken practice. And honestly, this YouTube channel has helped tremendously because of the practice. So something that you can do is like stand up on a mirror and pretend like you're having a conversation with somebody, but actually using your hands and actually using eye contact and practicing social situations. Like actually take a class that you're a little bit nervous on, or sign up for that social event. That's something that I think we're really missing in this society, where we're just expected that we're gonna do the online dating apps and meet people online. And not saying that that's necessarily a bad thing, but it's that we often look for those avenues towards meeting people rather than actually doing things. Because I did a lot of volunteering, I did things through my church, I did a lot of different activities, like I was in a play, and a lot of those things, they were uncomfortable. Like being the center of attention was not something that I ever wanted. Like I remember even my wedding day, I wish I could relive that all over again and get married all over again with the same husband. I tell people I'm like the same man, because I was so anxious that I didn't want to talk to people. I didn't want to go around, and it was my wedding day, for crying out loud. Like I should have enjoyed that. I should have been happy, but I was too busy focusing on my insecurities and just wanting to like not be looked at anymore because I was the center of attention. That's sad. That we should have an experience that should be beautiful, that should be awesome. The actual wedding itself was, by the way, like because it was just us going to church and it was us. But then the party, it was like, oh, don't look at me. There's too many people to say hi to. It was uncomfortable. And look at me, like I'm already like blushing because I remember the way that felt, and it should not be that way. We should have these amazing memories that, I don't know, maybe I took a Taekwondo class and it was super amazing, or I went to this cake decorating class, or I met these people doing this volunteering service. Actually find things in your community to do and go out there, even if it's by yourself. And you can use a lot of the tools that other people have taught you to actually put them into practice and make you feel more comfortable. The more you do it, the better it gets, but it's not going to be easy. You actually have to do the work. But I do want to say that it is possible to overcome this. I am a testament to that, and you can do this. You are not alone, and there is hope for you. And by the way, if you are interested in the book Cues or Captivated by Vanessa Van Edwards, you can definitely check them out at your library if they have the newer titles, because at least for my library, they don't tend to have the newer titles available. Or you can use my Audible link in the description box below. It is an affiliate link, so it does help to support my channel, so you don't have to use that if you don't want to, or if you love to have physical books. But I definitely love audiobooks because I can learn things while I'm on my way to work, while I'm washing the dishes, while I'm doing the laundry. And so it's something that I can listen to over and over and over again. So if you use my link in the description box below, you will get a free audiobook, yours to keep, even if you cancel. So if you try them out, let me know your thoughts because they definitely helped me tremendously. That's all I have for you today. I hope that this video has been helpful. If so, be sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe so you won't miss when I post a new video. I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.